What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about HyperLiquid today. Hype. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 11th day of June. Here we are at about $56.48 with roughly 10 hours and 40 minutes left in the day. Up 6% on the day so far, dealing with the aftermath of the drop from roughly $75 moving down here. It does seem as though you kind of have a head and shoulders pattern playing out right now. The volume profile does not really cooperate with that at all. Volume profile for a head and shoulders pattern should be declining steadily like that. I mean, this would be more appropriate. Clearly not a head and shoulders there. But nonetheless, this was immense selling off with some immense volume. To me, it does seem as though we could have a potential top. It's kind of an odd area to top out, and we've had a few of these cryptos do some shall we say, odd things as far as the fibs go. If we're looking at this from a relative high here to a relative low there. No, this isn't what I had in mind. What was it? Are we looking at the wrong thing? Maybe it's this high to low. Yeah, it was this one. The 1272 is at $79. Typically, you don't get this close to the 1272 and find resistance. Typically, it's at least at the 1272 or a little bit through the 1272 that you find resistance. So, or much lower, But here we are, finding resistance. We got close enough. You tried over like 4 or 5 days. You tried there and you just couldn't do it. Rejection. We're back down at the 886. It is completely possible. Hype is still in an uptrend. It is completely possible that we still can move higher, that we could see higher highs. Perhaps from here, you do move up to that 1272. You get a slightly higher high. It's like a double top, and then we start to sell off. Something like that could happen. The targets of $114, $92 from here are less likely than they were previously. I want to get into the short-term stuff, and then we can zoom back out and talk about some of those prices after we have a little bit of an understanding of where we might go in the short term, because it is possible that from here we go lower as well. So when we look at this uptrend, you could go below this trend line, this poorly drawn trend line. You could go right to it and bounce, and then still come back down. Let's look at the short-term stuff and see what we're gauging from there. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, $56.56. A little bit of volume coming in here. That's kind of interesting to see. RSI giving us higher highs, price giving us lower highs. It's hidden bearish divergence. Same thing in the stochastics. Same thing in the MACD. Maybe more of a double top. You're at the zero level with your oscillators. That would make me think that you're at a point of contention, overbought on the stochastics point of contention, and then the hidden bearish divergence there. So maybe we do move down in the short term. Hidden bearish divergence is not extreme though. I don't know if we should be expecting a move that's dramatically lower or maybe just a slightly higher low relative to this here, and then we move up. Let's look at the 4 hour and see if we can get a better idea. So yes, at the moment we are finding resistance here at prior areas of support. If we were to reject from here and move down, I would think that we move lower. We look at this from a relative low here to a relative high there. You do show bearish structure. Typically when you go from the 382 to the 236 like this and you move down, typically you would go to the golden ratio. And that would put us anywhere from about $49.60 to $47.22, somewhere in that area. That would be my expectation. So perhaps we do move a little bit lower, back below $50 here. And then if we zoom out, we look at the daily time frame, that would actually be a pretty perfect higher low trajectory there, right at the golden ratio. So I don't have a problem with that. Again, we don't really know what's happening yet with hype. It's possible that you can go lower from there, and maybe you find a little bit of support, but you work your way systematically lower. It is completely possible that from there you build and that you see higher highs. Hype is in a very bullish kind of trajectory overall, but as we get into the longer term stuff, we'll definitely build out a case for why this could be a top area, if not very, very near the top area in itself. You could be setting up for a distributive phase here, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. 4 hour time frame, RSI. You do have some bullish divergence. I think that's why you moved up here. But now you have hidden bearish divergence, not just on the 1 hour time frame, but on the 4 hour as well. Higher highs here, lower highs there, hidden bearish divergence. Same thing on the stochastics. The MACD is about to cross green, but you could reject from here as well. You are bearish overall. I think the right call is to call for lower prices. And again, the lower price that I would go for is about $49.60 to about $47. That's the call that I'm sticking with. That's what I believe is going to happen. And I'm wrong. I'll be proven wrong on that if you can get above this high. If you can get above about 65, 66 bucks, that actually, yeah, you probably have to get above $66. If you can get above there, then I'm wrong. Then we're moving up to $80 right now, and that might be where we find resistance. But I would assume before we get to 80, if that's even a possibility, let's see how we react with this $50, $47 level down there. Okay. Looking at the daily time frame, the RSI is in this area that you typically like to find support. But I would say the same thing here, and you kind of found support and you came back down. We've seen that happen before, though, and you still, I don't know, it got a little hairy there. You could see some volatility. Let's see how you do. I mean, if you don't go lower, that's fine, but let's just see how you do. Stochastics are oversold. It's bearish. MACD is bullish overall, but you could definitely come lower to the zero, maybe even cross below the zero. If you come down, you make this a quick kind of attempt down. Whoops, that was a little bit too much. A quick attempt down like that, quick little move down, that could bring your MACD to the zero. Perfect area to bounce from. You did it before here, you did it before here, you did it before here. You rejected the zero here. Definitely an area where we could see the MACD bounce. And at the very least, I would expect a lower high to come from that. If not a double top, maybe a slightly higher high to come from that, okay? Something, sorry. I do believe from this that HyperLiquid will go above $60. Again, I do believe. Even from here, we're at 56, I believe that we will go above 60. But first, we probably go below 50, okay? Then we look at this on the weekly time frame. What were we going to talk about? Oh, yes, we need the all-time history. That's why. Drawing a blank because of I wanted to talk about something, but it's just not sticking out to me. Hype would be hype H. If you're ever looking for the long-term history, so hype USD, right? There's no crypto chart. I type in hype H and it says crypto. This typically does give you the all-time history, if not some of the most history. It's not always the all-time history. It's on you to kind of figure that out, I guess. But hype USD, the reason why there's no crypto chart here when you type that in, I'm assuming there was a hype that was already made before HyperLiquid, another crypto that was named hype in TradingView's repertoire, but it's probably like a non-existent coin that doesn't matter anymore. It has no significance. So it claimed the hype ticker. And TradingView, instead of going through the process of deleting it, taking it off, because maybe it's more complicated than it sounds, they just hype H for HyperLiquid. So if you're ever looking for that and you don't see the crypto chart, like Tau is a good example, right? BitTensor. If you're typing in TAO USD, there's no long-term history there. We do Tau. There's no long-term history chart there, but if you do Tau B for BitTensor, you get the long-term history. Sometimes, like in the case of Toshi, if you do Toshi, there's no crypto. You do Toshi T, there's no long-term history, so you have to do like Toshi 1, Toshi 2, Toshi 3, go through the numbers. You figured out Toshi 3 is a long-term history. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how they or why they do it, but just a little fun fact for you there, I guess. Hype H USD for anybody who's trying to find charts, because that matters, man. Having the all-time history, or at least more history, makes a difference. Looking at this history here, what I'm building up to, what I'm alluding to here is, we look at this initial move from a low to a high. We moved up 238%. We look at this move here, this initial move, let's just say. Not the overall, not the low to high, but just that initial pump. And then we started to, distribute off. And then this here, this initial move here, low to high, 269%. So 238, 322, 269. Hold on, guys. All of this is a pretty similar looking move. What I'm getting to is the idea here that hype is still in an uptrend, why can't I do this, is a valid idea. Still didn't do it properly, but whatever. I'm just going to use a straight line. Being too peculiar with it. There we go. It's still a valid idea. We still have higher highs, higher lows, right? And as long as we bounce there, it's still a valid idea. But the idea that HyperLiquid continues at this pace forever and that we're going to go, I think, above like $100 or anything like that, I think it's not impossible. It's just not likely. We're kind of at that point where the limits are being reached for this thing. Now that doesn't mean you can't pump more overall. It doesn't mean you can't pump more overall, but I would say from here and on, this was distribution all throughout here, and then we sold off. We're probably going to see that here. Now, maybe we perform the exact same way. It'll take months before we're at prices that are like around $100. Maybe. Maybe we'll distribute at a kind of more sideways pace, and then we'll sell off however it looks, but I would assume that the majority of this move has been had. And the way that HyperLiquid distributed here, it wasn't like this, right? We didn't just dump off like this. So sure, relatively speaking, we go a little bit lower. I think it'll be a good time to buy some hype. And it'll probably be very tradable for months is what we're getting at here. That's kind of exciting, right? Just set up a range. And I think we're setting up that range right now. The low could be right around here, right around prior points of resistance, maybe right around here, prior points of resistance right there around $50, somewhere in this area, right at that trend line. It's perfect, right? Right at that relative golden ratio from that high to low there, or low to high there. And then we move up and we're in this range. And we break below the trend line. Oh no, everything's going to go to shit. And then that's whenever you pump. Haha, we're back. And then you dump. It's going to throw people for a spin. All the while, the large holders, the smart money, they're probably going to distribute their funds out over the days, over the months, over the weeks ahead, and in preparation for what will ultimately be the next higher low here, if I had to guess. Ultimately, I would assume HyperLiquid is working its way down, but the thing is, and why I'm treating it different than most cryptos right now, we're looking at these things and we're calling for lower lows, right? But most cryptos, they don't have higher highs on a macro scale like this. Most cryptos are in a bear market right now. HyperLiquid is clearly not in a bear market. You can't have higher highs and higher lows on a macro scale and be in a bear market. It's not possible. It doesn't make sense. So what I'm getting at here is the next logical choice for a low, I think, would be a higher low, something around the golden ratio. If you wait, if you're patient, it might take months. It might be Q4 of this year. Maybe it's late Q3, but sometime we will probably see prices that are back below $35, but yet not below $30 if I had to guess. From a low here to a high here, you didn't even go to your golden ratio. So oops, there's all the chicken scratch. So who says that we have to even go down there? Maybe we do find support at $39. We don't even go that far below 40. Who knows? Maybe, even though we found support at the 0.5 area and we didn't go to the golden ratio, perhaps this time we go lower than the golden ratio. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Low to high here. Maybe we go down to $27, $23. I doubt that we see a lower low, but even at $23, we'd still have higher lows overall, and we could still build from there. This is HyperLiquid's first bull market. I would expect it to end with a more dramatic bang if it were to end, and I just don't think that this is it here. So I think consolidate along with the rest of crypto, and then continue to pump up, and then maybe you have your finale finish here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-legged finish there, somewhere above $100, but below $200, something like that. But that'll probably be sometime in 2027 that you see higher prices than this. That'd be my guess. Anyways, I said everything I need to say. Short-term stuff, long-term stuff, we've gone over all of it. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.